You know, what we eat, it doesn't just disappear. It literally becomes us. It writes a story on our bodies, in our bones, and even inside our immune systems. And today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating historical observation that shows just how profound that story can be. So let's jump in our time machine and go back to the 1930s. What if I told you that nearly a century ago, a person's diet was leaving a clear, visible, and pretty powerful legacy on their body? It's a compelling idea, right? And it's one that a very curious researcher set out to document. To get to the bottom of this, we really have to follow in the footsteps of one remarkable man. And that brings us to the first part of our story, a dentist's quest. The person at the center of all this was a Cleveland dentist named Dr. Weston A. Price. But he was so much more than a dentist. This guy was a meticulous researcher with a serious global curiosity. See, he saw the dental health of his own patients declining, and he just had to know why. His journey took him a whole decade, sending him to some of the most isolated corners of the globe. All of his findings were compiled into this monumental work, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. This book is the source for our explainer today, and honestly, it remains a foundational text for anyone interested in that deep connection between what we eat and how we feel. So, what did Dr. Price actually find out there? Well, he identified two really remarkable physical traits that just kept appearing again and again in certain populations he studied. His observations were crystal clear. In these specific groups, he consistently found two things. First, a naturally straight and robust skeletal structure. We're talking broad faces, wide dental arches, and perfectly straight teeth with zero crowding. And second, an incredibly high resistance to infectious diseases like tuberculosis, which, you have to remember, was devastating much of the world at that time. So, who were these people? These observations came from groups like isolated North American and Amazonian Indian tribes, and the single powerful connecting thread between them, they all still maintain their traditional ancestral hunter-gatherer diets. You know, diets rich in nutrient-dense foods like wild game, fish, and foraged plants, completely untouched by the processed sugars, flours, and canned goods of the modernizing world. Dr. Price's work is like this amazing snapshot from the past, but its implications are absolutely timeless. His findings really force us to turn that investigative lens around and point it directly at ourselves. And that leads us to our final question. So, if the traditional diets Dr. Price studied left a legacy of strong bones and powerful immunity, we have to ask ourselves this question. In our world of convenience, processing, and global supply chains, what mark is our diet leaving behind on us right now? It's a powerful thought, isn't it? It connects a dentist's quest from the 1930s directly to the food on our plates tonight.